wasn't a huge comic book guy, so I brought it up to the band. I was like, I think I might like write a couple songs about some superheroes and villains and stuff. And they were like, as long as it doesn't suck, go for it, dude. We would always like, at the time you check Lamb Goat for the comments and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. That's a prime place to look at the comments.
But dude, we would rarely ever get any hate, and it was just like, I was like, is this for real?
There we go. All right.
Okay, that's the coolest thing I think I've ever heard.
Yeah. Black metal with fight riffs is what my guitar player Josh says we are.
Okay, I like that.
Please tell me you're waiting for that as well.
I just got goosebumps. My camera's kind of shitty. I don't know if you can see it. You kind of don't realize the growth sometimes when you step away from it and then come back. I sound better than I ever have. It's awesome. It's really cool to see, really cool to be a part of.
Real quick before we start, I just wanted to mention that we do these podcast recordings live on stream. We stream every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. EST on Twitch. It's an opportunity for you guys to come hang out, interact, and ask your questions directly to all of our guests. We also have a Discord if you want to keep talking more about deathcore and metalcore, or simply to keep up with everything that we're doing, upcoming guests, and all that jazz. I'll leave links to both of these things in the description wherever you are watching or listening. And with that out of the way, please enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Brutality Podcast episode. Which one is it? Episode 14. My name is Dom.
Couldn't tell you, so.
14, confirmed.
Okay.
My name is Dom. I'm joined as always by my co-host Yan. How you doing, Yan?
Hello. I'm doing super good. Of course I'm doing good. We have an amazing guest tonight.
There we go. We are joined this week by none other than Tim of Bloodthrone, but also ex Within the Ruins vocalist. Tim, how you doing, man?
Chilling, man. What's going on, gentlemen? Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Of course. Super stoked to have you here. Thank you so much again for taking the time and doing this, man. I think it's gonna be a good one.
Of course. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to have a guest with such a good sound quality. I need to say it, like not to throw shade at anybody out there, but like, thank God it's cool to hear that. Not everybody has a setup, right? So it's just.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's what Dom was saying when we were in the back end over there. I was like, okay, cool. Because I just started using this mic not too long ago. So it's good to hear that sounds good. Yeah. It
makes our life a lot easier. I'll say that much.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's get into it, man. I wanna throw you some flowers off the bat, kind of I don't know, fanboy a little bit, just because I just think Within the Ruins in general, like I'll always remember, and I know you weren't on this album, but I'll always remember listening to Creature for the first time and kind of being like blown away, kind of like discovering that this sound, the specific sound that Within the Ruins was doing was even possible. It was something that wasn't really heard of at the time. We were kind of at the beginning of a lot of these like more proggy type bands going around, the Sumerian core and all this stuff. But Within the Ruins had always like kind of had their own lane. And so I guess I just wanted to start with maybe from the beginning for you. How was it for you, I guess, joining the band initially? I know you had another band before that and played some shows Within the Ruins, or maybe even a few tours, something along those lines. But I'd love to hear maybe your experience joining the band and maybe yourself, like hearing Creature and joining then a band that, was on Victory and actively touring and all these things. I'd love to hear that kind of origin story for you there.
Yeah, definitely. Funny you mentioned that because like a whole rush of memories just hit my head. I haven't thought about those days in a while. So yeah, I used to be in a band called She Is a Liar. Me and my now guitar player, Mike Bojan, who was in Bloodthrone, was also in She Is a Liar. And he also played bass for Within the Ruins for a little bit. So basically when we were in She Is a Liar, we traded shows with Ruins a lot. We did a lot of tours, DIY touring and stuff. And basically when they got signed, I remember I called Joe the day I found out. I was like, is this true? He was like, yeah, dude. And just super stoked for them. And like we were actually hanging out at his house like a bunch of times when he was like writing and stuff for Creature. And it's kind of funny because I feel like I was kind of in the band already at that point.
In the process already. Yeah.
But no, after they started touring, I think like right before the album came out, their vocalist that was on that record, I guess they weren't happy with his performance or whatever, and they and at that time, She's a Liar was kind of going through member changes and stuff, so I was kind of a free agent at the time, kind of sorta. So yeah, Joe hit me up and he was like, "Do you want to join the band?" I was like, if you're serious, yeah, dude, my bags are packed. Let's go. So I basically did all of the touring on Creature with the exception of like the first one. So when it dropped, I was in the band when it dropped. So that's why a lot of people are like, "Oh, dude, I love you on Creature." I'm like, actually, I'm not on Creature, but kind of did all the work for it to support it. So yeah.
There's a similar vocal style too, though. Like I think your vocal kind of like fit within what was already being done on Creature. I think you ended up expanding a lot more in terms of what like the different vocal styles and stuff that you've been doing within the Ruins. But I think especially initially, I think your vocal was pretty like on par to maybe it's because you were emulating it, or maybe that was just your style. I don't know. Is that like fair to say? Because I know your band before that was more like deathcore-ish, right? Yeah,
it was a bit more deathcore. I'm always a fan of doing what's best for the song. So I put my own touch on stuff, obviously, because I guess I have like a kind of like signature sound to my voice, but I always kind of do what's best for the band that I'm in at the time. So I just kind of took what he was doing, put my spin on it, and then after that, once I started making records consecutively with them, I just kind of made it my own from there.
Yeah, that's super cool. And you were kind of, I guess, so you immediately started touring with them and all that, and you were kind of thrown into the deep end right away because you guys put out another record like a year and something later as well. Like Invade came out pretty shortly after Creature came out, right?
Creature came out.
You guys must have been like touring and then put out another album right away.
Yeah, Creature came out in 2009 and then I think Invade came out in 2011. So
no, 2010, but like I think it was like September or something like that. It was like a year and a half type gap. Like pretty much super short for like another full length, right?
Yeah, pretty much as soon as I joined the band, they were like, okay, the label wants obviously a new record with the new singer as soon as possible. So we were writing and touring at the same time. So in between tours, we would, practice and do pre-production whenever we could. And once Invade dropped and hit, that's when things kind of like took off in the right direction for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's super cool though. It's kind of like kind of boot camp, kind of like, all right, you're in it, let's go. Like full force right away, which is a cool way to get into it, right? Like you had been doing music for a long time already at that point, so it's not like you were like thrust into this thing where you were doing your first shows ever with a band that's touring and all that. But still, it must have been nice to kind of just be thrown into something that's actively working and stuff.
Yeah, it was nothing new to me at the time, but it was everything that I was working towards with the band that I was in, and I just kind of like skipped the line a little bit and joined a band that was signed. But I have brothers with those guys for forever, so it was kind of seamless. But
I would be curious to know though, like in terms of vocal performance to, after doing the shows and stuff like that, did you feel a lot of pressure going back in studio? Like when you replace a vocalist, sometimes you feel pressure. Did you feel just comfortable and fully on, or did, when you went back in studio, did you, I don't know if you were putting a lot of pressure on yourself, I guess is my question.
A little bit of pressure because it was the first, not major label, but like, nationally, internationally released on a label release that I've ever done. So there's that pressure. But as far as like expectations from the band and stuff, they were just like, just go do your thing, dude. We brought you on for a reason. So just having that confidence and going and just doing my thing. And that kind of, that set the stage for what came out,
Yeah, I think that's the best vibe to have as well. Like if you want somebody to perform, the best they can, is like you put your trust on the artist. Because if you're just sitting there and you're like, show me what you've got, like it's just creating more stress and you won't be at your max performance. But if you trust the person, you're like, hey, let's go do your thing. That's the best way to, and you were friends with them, right? So that probably helps.
Yeah, definitely seamless. Obviously when you join the band, there's another level to everything, and like getting used to how they operate and like how they, set up for shows and book shows and everything like that. And then like once we got a booking agent and management, that kind of, it allowed us to kind of focus on music a little bit more, which was nice, and not have to like book our own shows and, make sure everything's set, which I'm back in that saddle now. So it's kind of funny.
You didn't have the band to swap shows with anymore.
Exactly. It's just the booking agent's like, hey, you guys want to do this tour? You're going to be gone from this day to this date to this date. And we're like, yeah, let's go. And
you guys were doing a lot too. I was going through like tour history and stuff. Like you guys hit the ground running with the touring that you were doing. Like actually, I have this quote here that I was reading up on some old interviews and stuff. And while we're on the topic of Invade, you said here, I was homeless for a while and I had drinking issues. So I put my personal experiences in there. I also tried to put in a positive tone so people who are listening can understand and maybe the songs can help them out. Yeah. I'm assuming you're kind of talking about that whole time, that whole period, I guess, between joining the band and then those initial tours and before writing Invade. Could you take us through maybe a little bit of that if you don't mind?
Yeah, definitely. So when I was still in She's a Liar, like I said, we were going through some member changes and like the future of the band was kind of uncertain. And at the time, like I had options to like, work a 9 to 5 and get my own apartment and stuff like that. But that would just kind of lock me down and not allow me to tour. And touring was the only thing I wanted to do. So at the time I was, crashing at my friends' houses, or if they were asleep by the time because I used to deliver pizza. So I used to get off of work. If they were asleep at the time, I'd be like, all right, well, I guess I'm sleeping in my van tonight. Cool. It's January and it's fucking like 10 degrees out. This is tight. So
extended tour life.
Exactly. So that kind of went on for a while. And actually before Joe hit me up to join Ruins, I was sitting at a bar and just kind of drinking my woes away. I was like, I guess I'm done with music. I guess this is it. Like I'm pretty much homeless. I'm pretty broke and the band's not going the way I want it to go. So I was almost ready to call it quits. And he literally texted me that night and he was like, are you ready? And I was like, ready for what? Cause they were supposed to come through Brooklyn, within like a week or two of that date. And I was like, yeah, dude, we're going to hang out. It's going to be cool. Drink some beers. It's going to be fun. But, he was like, no, like, are you ready to join the band? I was like, yeah, I'm ready. let's go.
Wow. Cool text to receive drunk at the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd probably have to wake up from it the next morning and be like, wait, did that really happen? Is that
yeah. So it's kind of funny how that happened. And then that's like, once we took off touring and stuff, we would tour a lot. Like we would be out 9 months out of the year. So, it's hard to find work in between touring like that. So, it's just like the kind of hardships that kind of go with that and stuff. But after Invade came out, things got really good for a long time. So, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool to hear though. It's always cool to kind of hear those stories where you kind of are able to get out of something, through music of all things, it's like, sure, that's what your focus was. But I think a lot of people kind of dismiss it as like something that's not necessarily like attainable or possible. And that sort of scenario kind of like lining up at the perfect moment is just such a cool example of music working out,
Yeah, absolutely. And after that, it was like tunnel vision, laser vision, like let's fucking do this. Let's get the band as big as we can, tour as much as we can, write the sickest music that we can. And we did that for 10 years after that.
That's cool. Yeah. You guys were always kind of appreciated. We were talking about this a little bit before, like, before you joining, like deathcore or metalcore, like Within the Ruins kind of like sat in the middle of those two genres. It like, if I'm like kind of trying to objectively put a word on it, I'd probably say it's like technical metalcore or something like that. But you look at all the touring that you've done, and a lot of it, like a majority of it probably was mostly with deathcore bands, if anything. So how was that for Within the Ruins, kind of like being able to maybe, I guess you guys were able to play both sides. I think a lot of, at the beginning of your guys' career, I guess there was a lot more like mixed bills going on, like the All-Star Tours and Summer Slaughter and stuff like that, which I think is like the perfect place for a band like Within the Ruins. But outside of that, even like, how was, did it feel like you guys belonged in either camp? Were there any like issues trying to belong in either way, or was it all cool just being all over the place?
No, it's funny because we would always joke around, like whenever we like drop new music or a new video or get announced for a tour or whatever, like we would always like, at the time you check Lamb Goat for the comments and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. That's a prime place to look at the comments.
But dude, we would rarely ever get any hate. And it was just like, I was like, is this for real? Like, are we were well received. We could hang with the, hardcore bands. We used to tour with like Lionheart. We could tour with Carnifex. We could tour with, we've done shows with Killswitch Engage, and all across the board, we're just universally well received. So it's like, okay, this is cool. We can kind of tour with whoever and and do well. So we always, like, whenever we talk, it's like, or do interviews, it's like, we just consider ourselves a metal band. We're just, we kind of take influences from everywhere. But, if you ride in our van, we're jamming Load and Reload from Metallica and fucking a lot of In Flames, a lot of Soilwork, a lot of Arch Enemy and stuff like that. So we were like, we're a metal band. We can kind of hang with whatever kind of genre you want to stick us in.
Yeah, and you're right, Dom, because like my brain for some reason always thought it was deathcore, because I would see all these flyers all like surrounded by deathcore bands. So in my mind, like it was more of a, well, back in the days, deathcore and metalcore was very close to, like, if we're honest.
There were a lot of heavier like metalcore bands that really blurred the lines.
100%.
Exactly. It's I always called it like heavy metalcore. I know it makes no sense, but like to me, if you take like August Burns Red and those bands, it was still heavy, but it was metalcore. Like it was pretty large as a genre. But Within the Ruins, for me, I don't know, my brain was always deathcore because I was seeing all these top whatever 8 MySpace, back in the days with all the deathcore bands. So my brain just went there. But it's true that you have a lot of metalcore elements while staying heavy, so I can picture that, right?
I mean that's kind of where you don't want to pigeonhole yourself at all, with any kind of genre. So it's kind of good to spread yourself throughout the entire metal genre. So like, we always wanted to like, get to the point where we could tour with like Devil Driver and like the mainstream kind of metal crowd, that's the goal for any band, to tour with like Lamb of God and stuff like that. So that's kind of like where we kind of put ourselves musically. I mean, we were making the music that we loved and stuff, but we kind of strategically kind of like
with that in mind.
Exactly.
And while we're here, I would be curious to know your biggest like full circle moment, like when you met one of your idols or a big band you would never thought you would. Like, did you have? I'm sure you had, but like, did a moment comes to mind? I don't know right now, or
I would say, because there is a full circle moment that is yet to happen. Because when I was, it kind of happened, but I didn't like fanboy or anything. I didn't make it obvious and I didn't bring it up. But when I was in my high school band, we played a show with Machine Head back in the day. We opened up for them, and they watched us play. And at the end of the show, I was hanging out back waiting to meet him and stuff, and Rob Flynn came out, and the name of the band was Rotten Pain. Pretty fun. Wow. Yeah. 2003. What's up? Rob Flynn came down. He was like, Rotten Pain. And I was like, just kind of like frozen in my shoes.
Just to hear
like,
the name come out of his mouth. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, dude, you remind me when I was young, and just watching you guys just kind of gave us kind of like a kick in the ass to start, because that's when they started touring on Through the Ashes of Empires. So, and I was just like, being being like a 17-year-old kid, I was like, yeah, we want to tour with you guys one day. And he was like, fucking get signed and we'll do it, dude. And I was like, all right, I'll see you in a couple of years. And we were actually at the same bar one night. I think it was like 2012, 2013. And we just like bumped shoulders a little bit. I just introduced myself, and I didn't bring up that whole thing because we weren't touring together yet. So I didn't want to like, didn't want to jinx it yet. That never got to happen yet. So, I don't know. We'll see. but that would be a full circle moment for sure. But as far as something that did happen, I would say As I Lay Dying in Mexico was pretty tight. Even though we didn't play because the promoter couldn't afford our visas at the time. It was As I Lay Dying, Amir, us, and Knights of the Abyss, and he didn't have enough money to cover us and Knights of the Abyss to play.
No way.
But they let us set up merch, and we sold out of merch that night.
Okay.
Kids were pissed, and I was like, fuck. It was like 5,000 people in Mexico City, but yeah, I would say that was a full circle moment. Just watching the side stage and like the spectacle of like their production and stuff. I was like, I looked over at Joe. I was like, we're doing pretty good. This is pretty sick, even though we didn't play it, but still, like, this is like a good sign. We're on an upward trajectory for sure.
You weren't mad to be there for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
You must have gotten all night like people saying, "Oh, can't wait to see your set." Oh yeah, like, yeah, sorry guys, like
sorry.
But
when we came back to tour in Mexico, we played Mexico City. It was fucking phenomenal. Heart goes out to them.
Seems absolutely insane. There seems to be like not that many shows that happen from what I see, but a large amount of like the local scene sounds to be pretty big, and like just a lot of metalheads. Like all the shows I always see there are like jam packed.
Yeah, we've been down there 2 times since then, and both times were fucking amazing. Yeah, the kids down there, they love metal, and it comes through, man, because they do not stop headbanging and moshing the entire time. It's like they're at their last show ever that night, So it's super sick. Much love to everyone in Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they don't know even if the band is on the flyer, they don't know if they're going to play. So,
Yeah, that too. You never know.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I'd be curious. Maybe like we're probably making it obvious at this point. We're both huge deathcore suckers. Like we grew up on MySpace, deathcore, and all this stuff.
Absolutely,
and that's kind of always been like both of our true love, I guess would be the word. But I'd be curious your relationship with deathcore. We talk about like different influences from more like metalcore bands and stuff like that. But were you? I mean, through like touring with so many deathcore bands and stuff like that, like were you a deathcore fan to begin with? Are there bands that you really like? Is it something you ended up liking? I don't know. I'd be curious what your general relationship with deathcore has been.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Like Jan with the MySpace top 8, like I came up on that as well, dude. Suicide Silence, Through the Eyes of the Dead, Despised Icon, all those bands that had a huge influence on me. And getting to like play and tour with some of those bands later on was, another full circle moment. Because when the top 8 MySpace thing was happening, it was like that's like the be all end all. Like those bands were crushing it at the time, crushing it. All Shall Perish as well. That had a huge influence, and it was just kind of like it kind of gave me and the band I was in motivation to be like, hey, these bands are doing it, why not us? They started doing DIY touring and just kind of built momentum from there, and that's the kind of train that we roll down. And props to that whole era of music, and props to some of the bands that are still around today,
still killing it.
Still fucking killing it, dude. The new Job for a Cowboy.
Insane, right? Yeah, Woo! Absolutely.
That record is sick, dude.
They've become a whole other beast, man. We've been waiting on that album for so long, but I'm pleasantly surprised to say the least.
Yeah, especially the bass on that record is phenomenal. Props.
That's cool.
And I would also be curious to know, in terms of, like, we've talked about influences in bands and stuff, but like for you, you know, in terms of vocal, like, is there a vocalist especially that really, it could be while you were touring, maybe being impressed by their live performances, can be you as a kid, but like, do you have somebody that comes to mind that, like, he was my inspiration to do it myself?
I mean, growing up, it was, Phil Anselmo and Corey Taylor, 100%. And you can definitely hear that come across in my vocal style. I'm a stickler for, enunciation and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like, sorry, I'm just taking this top off. It's fucking hot balls in here. As far as like the deathcore genre goes, Eddie Hermidi was a big one for me. The way that dude gets his highs, like I get pretty close these days. So thanks for, and then he kind of coached me a little bit when we were touring together on how to do it and stuff. So
we were actually talking about that before. We were watching a couple of Bloodthrone songs before you hopped in, and that's like the main thing we kind of noticed in not shift, but like additional stuff that you were doing vocally was that kind of like high pitched vocal that suits, I think you said it earlier, you know, you try to fit the song, right? Like it's more of trying to fit the vibe thing. And those highs, I guess, were really kind of stood out to me as like something that was new and different for you, and matched that vibe like super well, like that evil kind of more like black metal thing going on. Yeah.
So when we conceived the band, we were like, let's do kind of like a black metal, but make them sound like they're from New York City kind of bands. Like, so sure. black metal with fight riffs is what my guitar player Josh says we are.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
And because I had been working on like that kind of like shrilly, shrieky kind of highs for a while now, and I'm stoked that, you know, started a band that I can utilize it pretty frequently. Danny Filth is a huge influence of mine on that. Like Damnation in a Day, that's one of my favorite Cradle albums. So like definitely drew a lot of influence from that, especially like kind of some of the two-step parts that we write and stuff like that, and the vocal patterns and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, it's badass, man.
Yeah, it must be fun for you too, as a vocalist, to have more of a, you know, it was cool what you were doing before, don't get me wrong. I just mean like when you can really fully use all your techniques, and just like, you know, it creates, you know, more options for you, I guess. Yeah, so that's,
I've been kind of using all the tricks in my bag with this one. And we're actually writing a recording for an EP right now. I just tracked a song last night, and I was talking to my bass player, Mark. I was like, I think this is like my favorite song I've ever done, actually. So
there we go.
Yeah. I got a little tipsy while recording. I gave it a sober listen in the car today, and it's still sick. So
there you go.
Always got to give it a sober listen, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. I can't drink and do vocals. It's like, for whatever reason, it doesn't, I don't know. My brain turns off, and burping through the vocals. And I don't know, it just doesn't work.
every Ruins record I've ever done, especially Halfway Human, like I would, you know, wake up.
You were Halfway Human, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. I would wake up, warm up, you know, a little hungover from the night before, start going, and then Joe would be like, "Dude, take a shot. You don't sound into it at all." And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to drink right now. And then, you know, lo and behold, a couple beers and a couple shots later, I'm killing it. So I just,
damn, all right, the natural habitat. That's
yeah. Not getting shit faced, but just enough to like get the blood going, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, I'm guessing it's not to the point where you're not even there to do it, but.
They gotta hold you in front of the mic type thing.
Yeah. Just it's a couple shots, couple beers. That's all. Just to get the emotions flowing.
I always say it though. Whatever works, right? Like there's no right. Like whatever works for you, you do it. I'm a bit like dumb though. And if I do vocal, I can't really drink. Like when I drink, first of all, I sound like fairly different if I do. Mm-hmm. And as he said, like I'm kind of a, you know, old person. Like I'm drinking tea and water. I'm the most boring, but I have some friends that they drink and they get, you know, it gets them in the mood. So as I said,
to each their own, man. Whatever works for you.
Exactly.
Whatever gets you there.
Yeah.
And while we're Oh, sorry. Well, while we're on the subject, we started talking a little bit about the new band. I'd love to know how that came about, because there was a fairly large gap, I guess, between Within the Ruins and then Bloodthrone. How and you mentioned some of the members now are members that you played in previous bands and all that. So I'd love for you to kind of take us through that.
And the inspiration with the name too, because I think I said it like 20 times that I really love the name. I don't know. It's sick.
It's fucking cool. Sick, right?
It is sick. It is sick.
Yeah, it's bad.
Definitely like my favorite band name that I've ever been a part of, for sure. I've been out of Ruins now for almost 6 years. After I left, I kind of knew that I still wanted to be active in music. I wasn't done with that. I just couldn't tour anymore. So I took, I would say, about 1.5 years, 2 years. And I started to get the itch again. I started doing like guest spots here and there. And whenever like friends would come through, I would like hop up on stage and stuff like that. And my best friend, Mark, who is also the bass player in the band, I was just like, I want to do something. Like, we should get some dudes together and form a band. And it kind of was slow moving at first. We recruited, like I said, my friend Mike Bojan, who plays guitar, used to be in Within the Ruins and She Is a Liar. And kind of like fucked around with some riffs, and things just kind of settled down. You know, people have lives and stuff. Yeah. And didn't touch it for a while. And then I met Josh, who plays guitar for a band called The Machinists here in New York City. And I told him that I was like, hey, I think we're trying to do like a black metal, deathcore, hardcore, metalcore thing. And he was like, I'm down. Let's do it. I was like, you sure? Like, I didn't want to like, you know, Amanda, their vocalist, is a very good friend of mine. I was like, are you sure? I don't want to steal your guitar player and like ruffle any feathers. She was like, no, take him. You're good. So
you got the blessing.
So we started hanging out and writing, and Crawl is the first song we wrote together. We were just hanging out in Josh's living room, having a couple of beers, and just, you know, program drums and just like alternating ideas and stuff. And that's how that song came to be. And shortly after that, I demoed the vocals for it, and we were like, okay, we need a drummer now. And I went to see our friends in Abiotic play here in Brooklyn.
Yeah, cool.
And James Knorrel was filling in on drums, and I didn't know he was from here at all at the time. I thought, because Abiotic's mostly out of Florida. So at the end of the show, actually, I went on stage to do Trevor Sternad's part in one of their songs, which is cool. And after the show, I was like, hey, have a safe flight home, guys. Like, nice to meet you. Yada, yada, yada. Nice to see you. And James is like, oh, I live here. I live in I live in Manhattan, dude. I was like,
I'm walking home. Yeah.
And the whole time we were watching them, like, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, dude, this dude's fucking sick. One of the sickest drummers I've definitely ever seen. I think he's watching right now. Sorry to pump up your tires there, James. Shortly after that, I reached out to him like, hey, I got a project that I'm trying to put together. Can I send you a demo? See if you're interested. And he said, fuck yeah, dude. And we sent it off to him, and he was into it. And that's how the band kind of got together.
That's cool. And you guys have put out 3 singles since?
Yeah. So Crawl was the first. We put out a song called The Serpent, which has Kevin Muller from Alluvial on it. And then we put out a song called Wronged pretty recently as well. And we're recording for an EP right now.
I'm terrible with names, but which one was I like tripping like?
Wronged, the last one they put out. Yeah.
This one, like, this is the one with the hardcore parts and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I need to give some props, because it's very difficult to mix hardcore like that with a very dark vibe and yet, you know, make it fit. And it's so awesome. Like I was very pleasantly surprised when the hardcore part just kicked in. I was like, oh shit, that's super badass. And I think it makes it even more unique because of that. So I'm excited to hear the new stuff. I don't know if there's still like hardcore parts like that, but that's super sick.
Thank you, man. Thank you. No, we're keeping the hardcore elements for sure. For sure. It's still very much black metal from New York City, you know, from the streets, but even though, you know, we all live pretty comfortable lives. So it's kind of ironic. Yeah.
Well, I'll cut that part out. We're not going to tell anyone. It's cool.
As long as they don't know, we're good. So
yeah. It's been a lot of fun writing and recording for this project. I'm stoked to finally play live, which is ironically opening for my old band. We didn't know that originally. We got the offer. It was just to, you know, support Oceano, which, you know, those are good friends of mine as well. So I was 100% on that. You guys have toured a
ton with Oceano, right, over the years?
Yeah. They're one of the bands that we've toured with the most. Them, Carnifex, After the Burial is another one too. But originally we got the offer and I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And I guess a couple hours later, Josh, my guitar player, was like, hey, Within the Ruins might be on it. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are the odds, dude? And I immediately texted Joe. I was like, are you doing dates with Oceano? He was like, maybe not. Why? I was like, we just accepted the offer for the Brooklyn show. So I guess we'll see you there.
See you there, yeah.
He was like, that's so weird. I was like, yeah. It'll be weird at first, but it'll be chill. I'm on nothing but good terms with those dudes. I talk to them, you know, if not once a week, then like, you know, once every other week. They're still some of my best friends. Yeah,
dude, it's probably just going to be like a good time for you guys to just like see each other again and perform and all that. Is what I would picture, right? Like if you're in good terms, of course, if you were in bad terms, it would be probably a little different. But I get, for the fans, it's awesome though, right? Like to see, you know, both bands the same. I think it's awesome.
It's our debut show, and then it's, you know, it's Oceano celebrating 15 years of Depth. So it's a momentous occasion. I've had people text me like from Philly, from Chicago, from Texas, from California. They're all flying out for it. I was like, oh shit, okay, this is cool.
Yeah. No, this is gonna be fucking cool. All those shows are gonna sell the fuck out, like for sure.
The second they announced that it was for Depth, I was like, please come to Montreal. And but you
guys might have to drive down, right?
Yeah, I mean Brooklyn's probably the closest day, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
But such like, first of all, Oceano, what a band and what a vocalist, and Depths. Like we keep saying it, me and Dums are like big fans of Oceano and Depths especially, but this album really shaped.
It changed a lot lot of bands.
Changed the game, dude. I remember sitting in the van. I forget where we were. I think we were somewhere in Texas, and our tour manager friend that was riding with us at the time, and he was like, dude, Oceano just put this out, and he played, you know, District of Misery, and we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was like a new breed of heavy at that point. Like it was just like it changed the game, like totally. Yeah,
I was like, these guys are about to fucking take over, and you know they did for sure for a long time.
Dude, speaking of taking over, man, you played a few tours and a lot of shows with Lorna Shore, like way back in the day.
Dude.
How's it seeing them now today, man? Talk about a glow up.
Nothing but love and respect for those dudes. So happy for them. And whenever I see them, whenever I get the chance to go out and see them, I give them, especially Austin, a huge hug. And like, dude, we took them out so many times.
Yeah.
And
opening slot, you know.
Opening slot, so happy for those dudes. They're huge. You know. They're doing the thing that like everyone kind of strives to do. So nothing but respect for those dudes.
Yeah, I think it would even be fair to say that they're the biggest thing in deathcore right now. Like I think I would say it's a tie between them and Slaughter to Prevail. Oh yeah, you're right.
They've been bouncing back and forth.
You're right.
Which you know, I never met those dudes, but Alex is like a recent influence of mine, because that dude kind of the way he does his vocals, he says it with his chest, and that's how I deliver my stuff. So
you were talking about enunciation earlier, right? And I think he's got that on lock.
Oh yeah,
you know, that's 100%, one of those things which is a rare feat for like that style of vocal specifically. You know,
that dude's a fucking animal, man. I haven't seen them live yet. They're actually playing here in Brooklyn, I think in May. So I cost some tickets, and
I think the only time I've seen them was in Brooklyn, ironically enough.
Oh, no shit.
Wow. Yeah, well, Brooklyn, New York, at Webster Hall, I guess. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I need to see this shit in person, dude. That dude is a savage. So
yeah,
very stoked.
First time I heard Slaughter to Prevail, I think it was the song, I think it's Misery Sermon, something like that. And like, I remember thinking, okay, if a demon would sound like something, it would be that. Like, I mean, it's so deep. Like, for me, it's just like, we were talking about depths from Oceano, but like when I heard his voice, Alex, I was like, okay, that's possible. That's something we can do. I didn't know that. So again, that's, all these guys, they deserve, there's a reason why I think they're where they are,
those
right?
bands are at the top.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing but respect. And it's, it's cool seeing that like ability can get you there. It's not just, crowd pleasing or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's just pure ability, dude. And that's nothing but respect for that.
Yep. I think the same thing, man.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Let's talk comic books.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, you've always kind of been a pretty out there with the fact that you enjoy, the whole, DC Marvel comic books and all that stuff. You had the whole concept album based around, which I thought was a really, really interesting concept, by the way. The way that you're writing the songs as though you are the superhero, like from that point of view, instead of having it from someone else's point of view. I thought that was like a cool kind of like twist on what that could have been. I think that could have easily been cheesy. You know what I mean? Like that concept as a whole. I'd love for you to talk to us a little bit about maybe some influences and how that album went.
Real quick, I just want to make sure that you're aware that now that you're going in that territory, I don't think we're going to go back to music for the rest of the podcast. So just want to tell you that. No, super excited to hear that as well. I'm making jokes, but it's just I also love that a lot. So.
Yeah. So the way it came about was there's a song on the Elite record called The Charm. And that was my first time kind of writing in the aspects of someone else, kind of like making up a story. And I kind of modeled it after Dexter Morgan, that song. So when it came time to do a new record, I really enjoyed that writing process. So I kind of was toying around with ideas, and obviously I'm a huge comic book guy. So I brought it up to the band. I was like, I think I might write a couple songs about, some superheroes and villains and stuff. And they were like, as long as it doesn't suck, go for it, dude. So, cause like you said, it's way easy to make something like that sound cheesy. So that therein lied like the challenge for sure. And I had a lot of fun, like watching the movies and reading a lot of source material and drawing influence from that. And, it definitely took a little bit, but once I got rolling and I wrote the first couple songs, it just kind of steamrolled from there, and I just had a blast with it. It was a lot of fun. That's
cool. What are some of your I guess favorites? Or
it was my question. Let's go.
So writing wise, definitely Gods Amongst Men.
Even just in general, for comic books and superheroes and all that stuff.
I thought you might talking about the record.
Feel free to answer both. Yeah. But I'm just genuinely curious in general.
I'll definitely get two birds stoned real quick. That's a Charlie Brock Boys reference. So Gods Amongst Men, definitely one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, 100%, performance wise and lyric wise, and it's basically a dialogue between Professor X and Magneto going kind of back and forth. And to segue into my favorite comic book, I guess heroes or whatever, the X-Men is by far in a way my favorite, my favorite team, my favorite, stories, all that kind of stuff. So very pumped for the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So
you're jumping all my those were all my question. I was like, please tell me you're waiting for that as well.
I just got goosebumps. My camera's kind of shitty. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, he's going to come in and save the MCU, which is tight because it's been kind of a little stagnant lately.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, someone in chat is saying Tim wrote better stories about superheroes for that record that the MCU has been doing lately. So.
I mean, honestly, it's actually true for real. Like it's kind of true. But you know what I was surprised though is that when Logan was a great at least I loved the Logan movie as much as it was kind of sad per parts, but I didn't think we would see that actor as Wolverine anymore because he said like I'm done with it. So when they announced that Wolverine would be part of Deadpool like a long time ago, so I was like, oh my God, who's gonna take those shoes and try to do it. There were some rumors about some people, but when I saw it was still Hugh Jackman, I was like, what? And then you probably saw on Instagram, right? They're kind of kidding each other and like, calling each other names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if it's not good. Like I don't see any worlds where it's not at least very enjoyable. That movie.
I think it's going to be a cult classic immediately. Has to be, because if it's not, then the MCU doesn't have much longevity after that. I feel like, because they're doing the Fantastic Four and they're doing the whole multiverse thing, but there's only so far you can go if no one's going to see your movies. So
yeah, exactly. To be fair, I think it's hard to top. When they did like Avengers with all those amazing people like Captain America and like they were all perfect for their roles, right? And then they wanted to stop doing them. So I guess it's probably difficult to come with other stories. I'm just a bit surprised because to be fair, I think one of my favorite is Punisher. I think if they would do a movie, I'm pretty sure it would do very well. So I'm surprised,
absolutely, dude.
Especially with the series. I think this actor was just
John Bernthal. Yeah, he's a fucking animal.
So
loved him as the Punisher. I
mean, same. And I would be if they do a movie with that guy. I don't see any worlds where it wouldn't do well. So these things, I'm kind of when they announce movie, people are not excited anymore, and I think maybe with Wolverine, it's going to bring some of that, or at least I'm hoping it's going to bring some of that hype that we used to have with those movies.
The thing is that they're realizing that their fan base is mostly older now. I mean, there's definitely going to be kids going to see them, but most of their fan base is like, our demographic. So when you put out a movie that's
some sort of nostalgia.
Exactly. Yeah. Nostalgia pays these days, dude, man. That's why, some bands are coming back and playing their first records, second records, and then everyone's going to see it. I'm, I me included, So I think they're kind of wising up and kind of retooling what they're doing moving forward to not only make money, but to like do these storylines justice for sure.
Yeah. And also another movie, like I know we're saying the MCU is doing super well. I gotta give them credit for the third Spider-Man when we got to see Tobey Maguire again with all those, bad guys that
No
we
Way Home.
grew
That was
up
so
with.
sick.
Like I was in the theaters and it's always difficult not to watch a trailer, right? Like to really keep it. And this time I really did. Like I didn't know at all what would be the story. I just went in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and it was difficult because I have a lot of friends who talk about that stuff. And I was like, I want a surprise. And I kind of knew that maybe Tobey Maguire would be in it. That was my only thing. So I went in, and when I saw Dr. Octopus and all those, I would like the whole movie. I was like 4-year-old, like just watching it and being impressed. I have to give them credit for this one. So
100%. Yeah. That movie was an absolute banger, dude. I was in the theater too. People were standing up, giving ovations. It was like, it was cool. It's a cool thing to see. I mean, me too. I was included. I was, hooting and hollering in there too. But I want more of that. I feel like there hasn't been one since Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was pretty cool, but I thought it was going to be a little bit better, honestly. So they have a full chance to redeem themselves here. So I think they will.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah. I think this Spider-Man movie was kind of the last super hyped movie that people were like, that's amazing. Since then, it's just People are waiting for the next thing. I don't know where, when Deadpool's going to come out, but it's going to be the biggest thing they did, since Spider-Man for sure.
I think it comes out in July this year.
Oh my God. Okay. It's fairly soon. Like I thought it would be later on. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. July this year.
Be prepared, You're going to hear me talk about it.
Let's go.
I might have to go see it. Who knows?
You'll have to, because to make a point also, Deadpool is one of those movies, even if you would never care about superheroes, you would enjoy the movie. Honestly, you would like it.
100%. Yeah. It's, the first one is, it could just be a standalone film and never have a sequel or anything like that. It's just that good. It's just like a game changer of a movie, 100%.
I still watch them. I don't know about you, but sometimes like Deadpool is just one of those movies you can rewatch and it's still
just throw it on, and it's just as good as the first time you saw it, 100%.
Yeah, and it's fairly easy to convince a girlfriend, even if she hates that stuff, because I did, and she liked it. So
nice.
There you go.
Luckily, my wife, she's not a huge comic book person. She's more of a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings type of gal, but she definitely digs the Deadpool stuff, 100%.
To be fair, already her being into Lord of the Ring is extremely awesome. So that's
so am I, dude. 100% one of the best trilogies to ever come out ever. And actually, we went to
The Hobbit.
Oh no, The Hobbit's all right. It's it's okay.
Nah, dude,
but it's not
comparable.
We're talking LOTR, baby.
It's not comparable, but
yeah, we went to Radio City Music Hall a couple weeks ago, actually with my drummer James and his fiance. Went to go see. They played the Two Towers with the entire orchestra live.
Oh, that's so sick.
So sick. So fucking sick, dude. If and they're doing Return of the King next year too. So if you're a huge Lord of the Rings fan, you have the means to get to New York City. I think they do like 5 dates in a row, back to back. I will definitely be at one of those, 100%.
They do a lot of those shows in Montreal as well, with like different movie titles and stuff.
Perfect.
They do like some of the Star Wars stuff is super cool to see in that sort of format as well. All those
That's
like super
cinematic
type soundtracks are so cool to see in that.
Unlike anything I've ever seen. I thought it was going to be a little bit louder, but like once you settled in, it's good.
Yeah, like I think the music, everybody's going to agree with that, but like the music is what, even after all these years, and I've watched those movies probably like you guys like 50,000 times, but every single time I have chills when the music starts, every single, it's so well placed and emotional. You don't even need words or whatever. Just the music with the moment gets to me every single time. I know what's coming. I know what the music is, and somehow just every single time, man, I have chills. I'm emotional. I think it's fair to say those are real masterpiece. Like
timeless,
really
timeless. And it's hard to recreate it. Like we tried to watch the Rings of Power.
Oh my God.
Yan's got some strong feelings about that
one. People in the chat are going to disagree because we did talk about it on our last community night. And I just said it out loud. I'm like, Rings of Power, and people were like, what, you didn't like it? I kind of didn't, honestly.
Yeah.
And
it's like visually stunning, but like the story, it's a little too slow. It's a little too slow.
And I want your opinion on this also. Galadriel, to me, like seeing her as, I know it's way before and years ago, but like I was surprised to see almost no magical abilities. Like she's supposed to be the light who fights the darkness almost. Like I was kind of surprised to see her only as a warrior who was like scared of almost everything. I was like, I was expecting to see at least some some magic, something, but like maybe
something badass.
And I was just like, if you would have told me that like it's not Galadriel, she's a regular warrior, I would have been like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Like I didn't it's okay, cool. Like a girl warrior, it's fine. But like I didn't see the Galadriel thing that I was like expecting out of this personally. And
same. We're just kind of like sitting there, just kind of like waiting for it. And then like she had some badassery going on, but not to what you would expect. Yeah,
exactly. So. That's the point. And I want to. I don't care if I'm throwing a shade, but like honestly, take a look at Lord of the Ring and the costumes. It's actually better than those. So that's the part I don't understand. Like if you pay attention, it's not that it's super bad, but like. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because now it's so HD or whatever. But like when I was looking at the ears and the costumes, now, I was just like, I don't know. It wasn't immersive enough, you know, for me. And maybe it's just because I'm comparing it, you know, to Lord of the Ring. But just didn't do it for me. But
it's hard not to compare, right? Like
because you're starting all the way up here, so it's kind of hard to go even close to it or beyond that. So I fully understand. But we went to me and my wife. We went to when we went to New Zealand for a tattoo convention. We went to the Weta Workshop, which is where they made like a lot of the props for Lord of the Rings and stuff. So we got to go see like how everything's made and meet some of the people who made it and stuff.
I'm super jealous. Yeah,
super cool. If you ever have a chance, if you're ever in New Zealand, definitely go there. Super sick.
That's where they have like the Shire and all that stuff, right? Did you get to see that as well?
Yeah, we went to the Shire. That's actually where I proposed to my wife in the Shire.
No way. There we go. All right.
Okay, that's the coolest thing I think I've ever heard.
Yeah. It was pretty cool, pretty fucking cool. And if you get a chance to go there as well. It's exactly like the movie. It's pretty big actually. Like the whole Shire. Yeah. And they do a good job of like showing you around and kind of telling you what's what and everything. And and super cool.
What makes a masterpiece also that I think it's very difficult to do is a perfect cast, and they did. Like at least in my opinion, like it's a perfect. Like I wouldn't change anybody in Lord of the Ring. Like everybody, like it fits, it works, it's 100%. Good. They're all great. I didn't see like one piece of like bad acting whatsoever. They're all great. But I'm curious about the moment, like for you though, were you able to keep the surprise? Like, was she expecting it a little bit or not even close when you did
not
the
even
proposal?
close? Wow. Not even close.
My man.
There you go.
Not even close, dude. So I proposed to her on the bridge. I forget what it's called. I forget what the bridge is called.
You shall not pass.
But you can see it. Not that one. You can see it in the movie though, like in the beginning when Gandalf rides into town and he goes over the bridge. Yeah, that's where I proposed to her. Wow. And she had no idea. And like I had like a whole speech plan, and like when it came down to it, like we were taking a picture on the bridge, and then I kind of looked at her. I was like, I love you. And she's like, I love you too. And then like my mind went blank. I was like, oh fuck. Oh no. And she was looking at me like, what's going on? And then like, she kind of put two and two together once I started. I don't remember what I said. I just kind of fumbled some kind of proposal together. But then once I got down on one knee, it was all tears and all smiles from there. Yeah. Good times.
Congratulations, man. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? It makes the moment even more authentic, right? Like you wrote some stuff or whatever, but you ended up just, you know, the only really thing that matters is the love you have, right? So like it came out as it did, and for her, I think you could have said it in any way, and it would have been amazing.
Maybe not any, but
maybe not any. Yeah.
Like I said, I really don't remember what I said. I just kind of went on autopilot for a second there, and
it's stressful for sure.
It made her cry, so I guess what I said was tight. So
there we go.
She said yes, so yeah, here we are.
That's so cool. That's so amazing. I want to see that someday. Honestly, this place too. Like it's so beautiful.
Dude, it's so sick. So sick. It's so awesome. unlike any other place on the planet I've ever been.
Imagine living there. How sick it. Like I keep thinking about it. Like I see little videos of, you know, like on Instagram and stuff like that of little houses and like, close to that or whatever, and I'm like, okay, that's the life. Like
New Zealand in general looks like absolutely stunning.
Super serene, super sick.
I think my music would only be Lord of the Rings soundtrack in my ears, and I would just walk around with that, and I'm like,
we definitely did that. When we rented a car, we definitely played some Lord of the Rings music, 100%.
You had to. Yeah. I mean, that's the experience there.
They probably have the CD prepped for you in there.
Yeah. Is it cool if I hit the bathroom real quick?
Absolutely, go for it.
Man. Take your time.
I also have to open a window in here. I'm fucking sweating balls right now.
You are good, man. Take all the time you need, man.
Totally fine, man.
I will be right back.
For sure, man.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, of course, man, of course.
No problem. While
we were coming up with some content for you.
Yeah, cool. So I was wondering, I was like, did he made a song about Lord of the Ring? And then we had the vision of like, you should do it with, Bloodthrone. Everything fits. That would be so sick to have like a Lord of the Ring.
I'm not against it whatsoever. Just got to kind of pick a topic and run with it,
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll take 10% off the top if that's okay with you, and we'll let you do it
for sure. 10% of like what would we make like a fraction of a penny? You got it. Per stream.
Yes. Exactly. A few cents. So
yes.
There you go.
While we're talking about kind of like we'll say cinema, I know this is different, but still, it's actually something I had in my notes that I'm curious about. The music video for Feeding Frenzy is a super fucking cool video. Yeah. I'm curious from your point of view how that shoot was. Were you there when they were also doing the like the B-roll scenes like of them at the table and all that stuff? Were you able to witness that, or was that done off another day?
That was off on another day.
Because that looked like such a fun shoot to be a part of.
Yeah, so we actually filmed the video for Feeding Frenzy and the video for New Holy War in the same day, same location, just kind of different spots in the same location.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a long fucking day.
I bet, yeah.
Two videos at once. So, and I think we left for tour right after we were done filming those. So we didn't get a chance to be at like the B-roll stuff where they were eating guts and all that fun stuff. But when we saw like the rough cut, I was like, what the fuck? This is sick. And
right. That must have been kind of insane, right? Actually not seeing any of it and not really knowing what to expect, like how it's going to look, and then seeing it like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. He took the song title quite literally. Like we were super stoked on it. And I think to this day, I think it's like our highest played video.
At least on YouTube. It's the highest one. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I think Halfway Human is like not Halfway Human. What's the name of the song? There's another song that's close, but yeah, it was the highest used one was still Feeding Frenzy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
super.
Can't even imagine how exhausted you must have been like during the first show after filming all of that, and then you're on tour and you play, right? Like it must have been, I don't know how far, the first show was from.
Yeah. I don't remember. I know. We shot here in New York City. And then I think our first show is like, I want to say like Pittsburgh or somewhere in PA, something like that. So not too bad. And at that point, you wake up with shred neck already, so you're kind of you're kind of like okay, but I don't need to like have the first show be like when the shred neck happens. So we were kind of like building our muscle calluses or whatever, and
it had to be now, or else you would have had to redo it. Like
and we were that kind of warms you up for like performance wise. So like because you usually takes a couple shows on a tour to like get in the groove to where you're killing it on a nightly basis.
You're at least really good with that one song.
Yeah.
The rest of the set sucks, but that song you guys do it to a T.
100%.
Yeah, because when you film a video, I mean, you gotta like, if there's a time to go, I mean, live obviously, but like if there's a time to go crazy, I mean, it's a video.
You have
like,
you have to. Every single take, you have to go 100%. Because if you don't,
exaggerated.
If you take it easy and they just so happen to use that little snippet and you see it, you're gonna hate yourself for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
So,
like a show is easier to kind of forgive. You're like, okay, I'll do better tomorrow. There's always
Yeah,
another
yeah.
one, but the video
Exactly.
stays up forever. It's kind of like, yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So yeah, video for all you kids out there, always go 1,000% on your videos, no matter how much it sucks. Even if it's like 1,200th time you're playing the song, you still got to do it. Even though music videos, you're only using like 30 seconds for an Instagram reel nowadays. Like it's very rare. It's very rare for people to sit down and watch the whole video. So yeah. Kind of crazy how that's a thing.
Except like us who grew up with that, like I feel we're still all, because we grew up with videos like that. So like we're like, if there's a new video I'm waiting for, it's almost like a theater thing. I'm like, okay, I'm watching this. But like if we're being honest with ourselves, the newer generation, they're like, you know, they just want the insane moment in the clip and that's it.
100%. Yeah. So, whereas like me and my wife were chilling the other day. We just put on some music videos on YouTube, just chilling, drinking bullshit. And me and my best friend Mark do the same thing. Especially after like a hockey game or whatever. It's like, you want to hang out some more? It's like, fuck yeah. We'll just throw some music videos on YouTube and just kind of bullshit and see what pops up, you know?
Yeah, we do. Cool. We do that with the old emo tracks. we do that every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now it's like the competitive aspect is that people have they have like 2 seconds of attention to give you. So like you know, that's what you have. So you put your best part, I guess, or your more intense stuff, and you gotta hook them real quick. Otherwise, on to the next. That's it.
To be fair though, I feel like that's always also been a thing for music videos. Like I can name you a trillion like music videos that didn't really do anything for a band because it was just like a kind of a more boring, straight to the point performance video. It's like it's there to promote a single, but that's not what's actually pushing the song. You know, you'd have a static visualizer and it kind of would have done the same thing. You know, it's like I think the music videos that kind of stood out to me more over time were like cool concepts, or like, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a specific hook or a specific like 30 seconds, but there has to be like something within the music video. It's like at least like, oh, that looks cool or something like that. Or else like what's the point, right? So I think we've always had that to some extent. Either
that or like the band just being the band, being silly. Like I was always a huge fan of like tour videos, just behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. Stuff that you don't get to see, that kind of like lifts the veil. Updates. Yes. Studio stuff.
You guys were big on the studio updates.
Yes.
You guys are always doing those. I'd love to actually dive into that. Like how was making those? How did you guys like see doing that? Like, were you guys just doing that for fun, or was it an expectation at a certain point? Because you guys put them out like every album. Yeah.
I mean, even like pre-production and stuff. Because at the time, our ex guitar player Jay, he knew how to like edit video and all that kind of stuff. And we would do tour updates. And like one day we're in the van, he was just like, "Hey, check this out. I think we're just gonna like post this." It was a tour update, and we're like, "Dude, this is hilarious. Like, we need to do more of these." And the whole time he was in the band, we would put those out. And even after he had left the band, we would send video out to like, you know, get put together and to put it out. And I still watch those to this day, and just like, you know, it's kind of like it holds a special place in my heart, to like seeing those memories, and like they'll always live on forever because they're out on the internet like that. It's just like super cool.
That's kind of what made me want to do music, honestly. Seeing the studio updates, seeing that most bands, you know, they're basically bunch of friends together.
Yeah, we're a bunch of fucking idiots, you know?
And
but it's hard, you know, you have a lot of bands that they kind of just put up a front of, there's like an image, there's the serious artwork and all these things, and you don't really know, right? You don't have a peek into that world, right? Yeah. Whereas the studio videos, I think the studio updates were always kind of like a way for the fans to see that side of the band. I'll take within the Ruins, for example. Like if you take the studio updates out and like the tour videos out, and you just look at the presentation of the band, you wouldn't think the band is necessarily like goofy dudes.
No, it's like super serious, super like, you know, super into our craft, musicianship, yada, yada, yada. Where it's just like, I mean, yes, but yeah, at the same time, we're just a bunch of fucking idiots that like to play metal and get drunk and have a good time.
But it's more relatable this way too. Like you feel like if you listen to, depends on who, but like for me, if I listen to a band and I see that these dudes I could easily vibe with, like I feel even more connected to it. And I have like, you haven't, it's a level above, like you love the band more now that you feel like you kind of know them better.
No,
so
absolutely. I can't even tell you, like so many people over the years that have just even reached out on Instagram or just come up to me at a bar after a show, like shared a drink or whatever. Some of these people I still keep in contact with to this day. Like you develop friendships and stuff, and it's just like I never really. I mean, sometimes if you're like Slipknot level, obviously you want to keep that mystique. But if it depends on the level of band you're in, but like I had never got the whole like, oh, there needs to be like you over here and me over here. It's like, no, dude, we're all coming from the same place. It's like there's no reason to be a fucking douchebag about it. Like I'm a dude, you're a dude. Let's hang out. There's no dividing lines. I'm still like that to this day, because to this day people still come up to me saying like, love the Ruins, like grab a picture with me and stuff like that. And I'm always down. I'm always down to hang out. Always will be.
That's the best way to be, I think, because you never know, how important of a moment it is for the person, right? Like maybe it's just 100%. It's a moment at a table, just quick, but maybe that person has been waiting for like 8 years for this specific little, just talking like for 5 minutes, and it changed.
Going back to Rob Flynn, dude, he was super chill to me, and I was like, I kind of carried that with me, honestly, and he has a podcast. If anyone has any contacts, I'd love to be on the podcast. just so I can relay this story, But I always carry that with me. It's like you never know who you're gonna influence to do whatever, and like that couple 5-10 minutes you spend with someone there, that might be super special to them, and there's no reason to be a dick or squander that at all.
Exactly. Yeah. And no matter how your band is known or whatever, like the example that I always used is Mitch Lucker, right? Like he was a freaking beast on stage, but then he was also super sweet and nice and respectful and appreciative of, so you like the guy even more. I think this contrast is awesome in metal, right? Like you're a beast on stage, you look like a freaking monster, and then you're just like, hey, what's up, dude? Like super nice with people. I don't know.
100%. It's funny because like being out of the game now for a little while, there's people in my life that never knew me as Tim from Within the Ruins. They've only met me as Tim, the guy who removes tattoos. It's kind of funny now that I'm active again and putting out music, and now going to start playing shows again, and they're going to see this other half of my life that's been most of my life. I've been in and out of bands since I was like 14. So it's kind of a funny thing to see people's reaction to like, hey, like you caught me on like a break. So now this is who I really
this
am.
is the real me.
This is
here's my other half.
Exactly. Yeah. It's good. It's been fun.
You surely have fans that know you personally, because just when we announced that you would be here, I've received like tons of messages saying, hey, you're gonna like Tim, he's amazing, I met him at whatever show and he has a great vibe.
We had a few people in chat before starting too that were saying the same kind of thing.
Good stuff. Well, thank you, everyone.
It's only good. Can I ask you if like what would be the biggest difference in terms of mindset, if there's one, like between you when you were within the Ruins and like now you today with your with Bloodthrone? Like if you would, like if there's is there a big difference maybe in terms of like how you see things? Exactly. Definitely
how I see things, for sure, because before, when I was in Ruins, it was like that was all we were doing. It's the band and that's it. Like I said before, if you could find work in between tours, whatever, it's just like little $10 an hour, $15 an hour jobs just to get you by in between. So that was all we were doing. We were eyes set on the big prize. We want to be one of the biggest bands in the game. and we did the work to support that. And, you know, we were on a good stretch for a long time to do that. And, but the only difference now is I have, a stability in my life to where I can, you know, pour my heart and soul into music, but at the same time, I can, you know, live in a really nice place in New York City. And,
you're not sleeping on someone's couch. And
I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about money. You know, I'm getting adequate sleep and taking care of myself. And it's just like it's definitely a other side of the coin kind of thing.
Watch Lord of the Ring and
exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of like a have your cake and eat it too kind of thing. Cause it's like I've my whole life I've put in the work to, you know, make a name for myself and do all that. So I'm not necessarily like starting from scratch or anything like that. Like our band isn't like paying to play or selling tickets or anything like that. So we kind of have that luxury, but, at the same time, it's just like, it's kind of nice. It's like, oh, I can do music. And now that we're starting to play shows, like we were going to play shows like regionally in the Northeast, it's very easy to play, you know, a major market just by driving a couple hours. So yeah, we're going to start doing that, at some point. And, yeah, it's just kind of nice to like have a comfortable life plus do music and just kind of, you know, balance everything to where it's all cohesive, you know, whereas before it was just the band. That's it. This is what we're doing. No place for anything else. No place for anything else. Yeah.
But it's good, I think, because it probably makes you appreciate it even more today, right? Like because you went through that, like just full on and being uncomfortable in general. Now that you have this comfort and that, you know, you have this peace of mind, I feel like it's best of both worlds. You do your passion and love, but you don't feel like you're at risk or you need to give up everything. Like you still have your stability. So you do what you love and you still have your life. So
exactly. It's like I said, have your cake and eat it too. It's been awesome so far. I'm stoked to see where it goes. And the tattoo removal side is only getting better. We just moved to a new location and stuff. So, it's an overall good time to be me, I guess. I'm definitely
kind of jealous.
It's cool to hear, man. That's the stuff. Can I ask you how you know, tattoo removal, like how did that come in your life and, you know, the idea of doing that? I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, for sure. So when I started dating my wife, her name is Nikki Simpson. She's a very, very talented tattoo artist, well-known tattoo artist. When we started dating, I've actually met her on tour. We were on tour with, Card Effects at the time. And yeah, we just kind of started talking and just kind of started dating from there. And she moved out here from LA. And I kind of wanted to, cause I started working with like tattoo conventions with her and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with music, like the industry side of things. Yeah. Like I'm used to, like, whenever we would go to LA or, you know, label heads would come out from New York, I would always be shaking hands, schmoozing, kind of doing that whole thing. So I kind of started doing that on the tattoo side of things. And I was like, I want to be involved in the tattoo industry somehow now that I'm not doing music anymore. So I would kind of, you know, just kind of be like, oh, I want to own a shop one day. I kind of want to be that kind of guy. But at the same time, I was like, I want to have like my own thing that I do. And I started getting lasered myself by this dude, Gian, who used to work at Addicted to Ink in White Plains, which was where my wife used to work. He started lasering me. And I was just kind of like, okay, I think I can maybe get into this. And then eventually I got with the right people, got certified, got trained and all that. And I picked up the science of it really well. I got really good at it. And I just kind of took off with it. And I got my own thing going on now and super stoked. And yeah, we have a tattoo removal studio in Brooklyn, New York. And it's been going really well.
Results are fascinating, by the way. I just gotta say, I was looking at some of the before and afters that you've been posting and stuff, and it's pretty wild to like completely fully remove a tattoo that way.
Yeah. It takes some time. It's not super quick results, but it's super gratifying for the same thing with music. It's like if someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, your lyrics changed my life or something like that. Same thing here where it's like I remove a tattoo off someone that
there's
they
like
hated.
a reason, a story.
Yeah. And they like, I've had people in my studio that like cried and given me hugs. Like it like changed their life. And so it kind of gives me that same gratification that music does. And I wake up every morning and I don't hate going to work. I love going to work. Love what I do. So
that's the stuff.
It's really awesome. And I get to, be involved in the tattoo and the music industry. Cause like I said, they go hand in hand. And eventually we're going to start melding the two, kind of maybe start sponsoring shows here locally in New York City,
cool.
kind of doing stuff like that. Not there yet, but yeah, that's
removal in the pit type thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, maybe have like a ugly tattoo contest at a show or something. Whoever has the ugliest tattoo gets free removal, something like that. So
that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. I'm also curious in terms of cover-ups. Do you sometimes don't remove it completely, but just kind of make it fade so that the artist can do a cover-up? Do you do? Okay, I was curious
100%.
about that too. Okay,
that's like I would say that's like 60% of the work I do. Like people just want something faded to get it covered up. I actually lasered myself the other day. I don't know if you could see. It's kind of shitty in here.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
This is all faded to get covered up, and I already have up here covered up. So,
yeah. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, usually 3 to 4 sessions, 12 weeks in between gets you can fade it with, basically anything.
That's awesome because sometimes you can't, right? Like it's too dark or it's too full to do, like you can't cover it. So
we get some people coming in the studio and they have like a super dark raven, like right in the middle of their forearm. It's like, can you cover this? I'm like, you need some laser, homie. Like, unless you want to black your arm out.
Lo and behold, I've got this setup here.
Yes,
Log on right in.
it's a one-stop shop. It's been awesome.
It's well taught though, because the person who's exactly wants to cover up, he has everything in the same place. So just got removed a little bit and then
But I also work with a lot of artists in the city. Like I'll never like poach any clients or anything like that. Because if you're an artist in the city, I laser artists for free in exchange for like future referrals. Just to kind of keep that trust. That's like, hey, I'm not gonna have your client come here to lighten some up and have one of my artists cover it up. It's like this is your client. I'll never break that bond. It's that's kind of sacred.
It would maybe be a little awkward. You go after the tattoo and you're like, you just got done with the tattoo and you're just like, I got you, man. I'm gonna help you with that. Imagine that, like just, I'm gonna.
If you really were a crook, you could just scroll through people's Instagram pages and see the work that they've done and kind of write a few messages to some people.
Can't do that. Can't do that.
I know.
For sure.
That's how you get a brick thrown through your storefront real
quick. Probably.
You just moved.
Not
Let's
about
keep it that way.
Yeah. I'm all about unity and the same thing with the music scene, tattoo scene is the same thing. Everything has to be close knit and there has to be that trust for sure. Yeah.
No, for sure. But it's interesting that you do that because I'm sure it gives people their confidence back, right? When you absolutely hate a tattoo on yourself, it's
100%,
plays on your confidence. So that's, it's awesome.
It also helps that I'm a client as well, because I'm removing the full sleeve, full chest piece and a piece on my leg as well. So it's kind of good to show people, especially the stages of results and stuff and like managing expectations. But also it's like, hey, I do it on myself, so I know how it feels. So I have a very quick hand, so I get through it super, super quick. And people tend to appreciate that.
Yeah, I would expect it to be painful, honestly. I would expect it to be fairly painful.
It's not too terrible. It feels like a hot rubber band snapping on the skin, but I blow cold air on the skin to kind of take the edge off and super cold ice pack. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like getting tattoos, right? If you really want something, it's like it's part of the process. And
exactly. Exactly.
If you go there and the whole time in your mind, you're like, it hurts, it's going to be horrible. But if you just talk and try to just relax at the same time,
But that's part of that's a huge part of my job too, is just kind of like everyone gets to like woosah, like manage the nerves and everything, just kind of talk everyone down to baseline. And it's funny sometimes, because sometimes they come up with like a little tiny tattoo and it's done in 2 seconds, and they're like, that's it. I'm like, that's it.
That's it.
And they're like, I don't know why I like built it up in my head. I was like, the internet has like a lot of horror stories and a lot of like gnarly like healing pictures of like blisters and stuff. It's like, yeah, that can happen if you go to someone that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, same thing with tattoos, right?
Same
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, sometimes you see certain tattoos and, you know, it's almost scary thinking like who did that? Like, just you see all the blow ups and the lines and like the person, like it's horrible, but like it's like tattooing. There's good people in everything, and there's people who, you know, don't do things properly and
probably shouldn't be tattooing.
There you go.
But bodes well for my business, so
right,
yeah,
it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
Not that we're encouraging it, but you know,
kind of a double-edged sword.
True. There's positivity.
Right, you kind of need them, right?
100%.
You've seen some funny stuff for sure. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of everything walk through the doors for sure. I'm not at liberty to talk on everything's confidential,
no,
so I can't. Yeah, definitely seen some interesting stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to be mindful of your time, so I'd maybe want to land this one with maybe something that would be fitting for this to landing the plane, if you will. I'd be curious to kind of hear about your experience with the end of your time with within the ruins, because I think it's kind of a particular. Not many people that leave bands know when their last show is. Right?
Yeah.
And you had it was, I'm assuming it was cool for you to be able to do like those final 2 shows, some cool shows, like a hometown show, but then as well, the New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, which is fucking huge, right? Always. And you guys had been a part of that for multiple editions and stuff too. So
yes.
I'd be curious to maybe hear your thoughts on how, I guess, that whole process went, because I know, like you said, you guys weren't on bad terms, but still, it was like the end of something, and then knowing you were performing for the last time within the ruins. I'd be curious to know how that went for you, and maybe what was going through your mind.
So the way everything went down initially was, not the way it was supposed to go down. I was never, because we were in the middle of a headline tour. I was not supposed to go home in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But it was at that point, it was just my body just being like, hey dude, you're done. Like you can't do this anymore, because I'm prone to high blood pressure. So if I don't take care of myself, if I'm, partying too much, not sleeping, not eating right, pretty much basically what touring is.
Tour stuff. Yeah.
My blood pressure just kind of skyrockets. So that's kind of what happened in the middle of the tour. I had to go to the hospital. The doctor was like, nah, dude, this is not, you need to go home. That's kind of what happened. Steve, who is now the vocalist within the ruins, stepped in, saved the day. And after they got home, we kind of, decompressed and dissected the situation. And we agreed that, Joe was like, is this going to happen again? I was like, I think so, dude. Like, I think right. I'm done touring. Like, I think my body is just giving me warning signs that this is not a feasible thing for me to do after, I don't know, even before touring within the ruins. I was touring DIY for about 5 years. So 15 years straight on the road, just kind of took its toll on me. So we agreed that, we'd part ways and we would do a couple of shows, to, pass the torch to Steve. And, it was very tough for me, 100%.
Sure.
Because it was a chapter of my life closing that I never thought I would close, Yeah.
It's not because you wanted to type thing,
Yeah. It's still something to this day that I look back on. And I was like, I kind of wish I did things differently, but you can't. It's just it kind of is what it is. So, as far as the shows themselves, the Brooklyn one was fun and slightly weird because they had some of the label people come to kind of see how Steve performed. So he did a couple of songs to open the set, and then I went up and finished the set. Okay. So that was kind of weird. It's like a glimpse into like what is going to happen from now on, you know?
You're looking at the band that you're still a part of, but not really.
Yeah, it was a little weird. You know, it triggered a lot of feelings.
Out of body experience almost.
100%. And then the next day at Metal Fest was, I think, one of the best Metal Fests we have ever played. We've done like 6 or 7 of them. Yeah. So that was, as soon as we were done, ran off stage, bawled my eyes out, did the whole thing. And, it was, it felt cleansing kind of, but it was also heartbreaking for a long time. I went through like a full blown identity crisis for, I guess, a year or 2 after that. Still kind of like even more after that. Cause, my wife did a TV show called like Master Angels, where she was a host, and they did this whole thing. They would have like a live crowd come in, and I went to go visit her. I forget. I think it was like Atlanta or somewhere like that. And, I saw like all like the wiring and the lights and everything and the crowd cheering, and it was
production and stuff. Yeah.
Production. I'm usually like, that's the point where I get up and go on stage and do my thing. And then it was like, it didn't happen. And I had a panic attack outside and stuff. And it was just like, fuck. So I went to therapy for a little bit, kind of had to talk my feelings out on how to move forward from my old life and kind of start anew. And, from that, I kind of like accepted how everything went down and kind of where I was going from then on. And, I'm obviously in a much better place now.
Yeah.
I haven't talked about this stuff in a while, so sorry if I get a little choked up.
No, you're good. I mean, dude, thank you so much for sharing. Because that's pretty intense stuff to go through. I can imagine, right? Like,
Like I said, like I'm down to talk about anything. I'm an open book, and anyone who has asked me, either at a show or just kind of like I've had fans reach out to me on Instagram, just kind of asking what happened. I'm happy to talk about it because it's something that I'm not the only one that this has happened to, you know. A lot of other tour homies that, you know, we shared the stage with are kind of getting older now and kind of doing the same thing. It's like, whether it's health related or life related or money related, it all kind of comes to a head eventually. Unfortunately, I wish we could all be, successful and make a lot of money and tour forever, but I wish we could all do that, but that's unfortunately not reality. But it was definitely very emotional, and especially now that my first show back is Within the Ruins in Brooklyn, which is one of the last shows that I played with the band.
Oh, that's true. The second last show was there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm going to hop on stage or not, but you'll have to come to the show and find out.
Yeah.
But I would probably say that's probably going to happen. So definitely come to the show.
I know a guy who knows a few songs through the catalog.
I know a guy. Yeah.
I want to say thanks for sharing, because these things, like being a super anxious person who had to deal with a lot of people, a lot of things, therapy, and even today I'm super anxious. I don't do panic attacks anymore, but I used to do super huge ones. It's not necessarily easy to revisit when you tell something like that. So really appreciate that, you took time to
of course
on the podcast, because it can make a big difference for your fans hearing that. Maybe they're going through something difficult, feeling alone or lost or anxious, no matter what's happening in their life. So hearing someone that you see as like, an icon telling you that, it's like, it's inspiring, and I'm sure it makes them feel, 1,000 times better. So
absolutely. We're all human at the end of the day, it's just, we're all victims of circumstance and stuff like that. So, like I said, I'm always an open book. Always, if anyone sees me at a show and they want to talk about it, I'm happy to, talk to you for a bit about whatever, if you're going through the same thing or anything like that.
And for what it's worth, you're killing it with Bloodthrone. So it's an amazing,
it's good to be back, dude. It's good to be back.
It must feel good, right? To be back making music and getting back into that groove and stuff.
Yeah, I feel
having something else to look forward to musically, you know.
I'm starting to feel like myself again for sure. A piece that I've been missing for a while, and it's coming through in the music too. Like I definitely. It's funny because like when you're making records and they're doing well and stuff, and you're in the moment, you kind of don't realize that, you know, those end up being timeless if they do well and stuff. And then you kind of don't realize the growth sometimes when you step away from it and then come back. It's just like, oh, I have grown. This is crazy. Like I sound better than I ever have. You know, it's awesome. It's really cool to see, really cool to be a part of.
Cool, man. Well, I mean, thank you so much, man. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this and being honest with us and kind of going through, taking a trip down memory lane.
Of course, man.
With us. But again, thank you so much for doing this. This is a really cool conversation, man.
Super fun.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for having us. I mean, having me.
Those are the two personalities that are showing up here. Yeah.
And if we ever do a special about superheroes, Lord of the Ring or whatever, you're the guest.
There we go.
100%. 100%. I would love to come back and chat with you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be only me probably. Dom is gonna leave, but we're gonna do it someday. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually always ask people to plug their shit at the end of episodes too. And I completely flashed out. So
we got off, and I was like, oh fuck, I totally did not plug anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are saying you're back for revenge.
All right, awesome. This will go on the podcast part too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll stitch it in. Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. All right. So you can follow me personally at Tim Ruins. You can follow the band at Bloodthrone Official on all platforms. And I also own a tattoo shop called Everblack Tattoo Studio. That's at Everblack Tattoo Studio on all platforms. And the tattoo removal side is at Gotham Tattoo Removal. And that's it.
Hell yeah. I'll put all those links down in the description of wherever people are watching or listening as well, for sure.
Hell yeah. Thank you for letting me jump back on to
of course, man. It's the least we can do, really.
Absolutely.
I felt bad not asking in the first place, so you're good, man.
And the funny thing is, right when you left, I was just curious to see if you guys have merch and stuff. And I was telling our chat, I'm like, their merch is sick. Like it's super medieval with like a wish and stuff like that. And then you came back, so like it's fitting.
I'll put a link to the merch as well while we're at it.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, man.
No problem. Thank you, boys. Have a good night.
You too, man. Thanks.
Cheers.